Yo, YouTubers, excuse me messy head. I haven't really got myself ready or whatever. I'm in my scruff still. It's the 4th of November 2018. It's approximately 13:28, so 1:30. Time check. Okay, I thought I'd do a video about my effects pedals and the sound. Some people have asked me to do a little bit more about guitar tips and things like that, right? So I'm going to do a speech about I've got to stop saying about a distortion pedal that not many people know about, and they're like rocking horse shit. Basically, they're very rare because they were only made like a limited run. And they're quite rare, but you can buy them on eBay. So I'm going to give a bit of advice if anyone sees one, snap them up. If they're into, you know, if you're a distortion fiend or a fuzzbox fiend, and you're heavily into the sound of fuzzboxes, right? Now, bear in mind, I've been practicing recently with a busking amp, right? Just show you the busking amp just to remind you. Right, this thing here, right, which is, it's not a proper guitar amp, you know, like you can just plug into a Marshall or a Fender amp and it's got everything there, hasn't it, you know, your middle, your tone and the bass and everything. It's all designed for a guitar, right? These busking amps are designed for playing MP3s through and singing along or whatever, microphones mainly. And because I'm using mine as a guitar amp, I've got it plugged in now, and I haven't got it loud, right? I know I could be using this so the sound could be going straight into, through my mixing desk or whatever, straight onto the, you know, where the sound source is clear, there's no air between or whatever, but I'm showing you this so you get an example of it as a guitar amplifier in the room kind of thing, you know, it's like a combo. I'm using me busking thing as a combo amp basically, but what I'll do is, because it's a limited, on these busking things, they've only got like a bass and a treble, to, you know, to sort of round off the tone, etc. Right? So I rely on my effects pedal basically as my amplifier, you know, because if I do go into the street, it's got to be battery operated, remember, and it's got to be portable and lightweight. And the zoom pedal I use mainly, my main zoom pedal, is the Zoom G2NU. Right, I'll just show it on the camera. I'll take the camera off the tripod. Oh no! Noise! Need to repair something, I don't know. Okay, this is my main pedal, right? You might all be familiar with that. And these are quite rare now because everyone's snapping them up. They're like, because they're heavy duty, they've got a metal case. The G2NU. But you've got like dials on, so you can just alter treble and bass, you know, as if it's an amplifier. It's really brilliantly set out, you know, if you want to do that. You know, it's got those, you can just tweak the dials. I swore. Oh no, I swore. But anyway, that's my main thing, right? But it's quite heavy. When I say heavy, it's made of metal. So obviously, when you want to go lightweight, I'll do a sound comparison in a minute so you can hear what I'm talking about, but you get me so far. Really, I'm relying on that pedal with its, and remember it's a multi-effects, so it's got delay, flanger, reverb, all those things are all in one unit, so you don't need a pedal board in front of you, right, which is useful if you're just busking in the street. It's battery operated as well, right? But sound wise, as an amplifier, as a guitar preamp, as a distortion, to me, I've used older Zoom pedals to sound better. I don't know why Zoom do that. Like, I mean, I always remember the first Zoom I ever tried was a little tiny thing. It was only like that, like the size of a cigarette box, basically. Can't remember what it was called, or something 2000. And they're rare now. No, you know, they're like collector's items. And the idea was it went on your guitar strap, and it was the very first thing that Zoom produced, and it went on a guitar strap. It was battery operated or whatever, and you had a little, instead of having pedals on the floor, you had like a little buttons that you put on your scratch plate with a piece of Velcro or something. So instead of pushing buttons with your feet, you could just select your pedal, your sounds with your fingertips basically. But the distortions on that original Zoom pedal were incredible on that little box thing. It was like, it had an amazing sound. You know, I always remember it being quite an exciting little unit to use with headphones and that like. But I've noticed as the more products Zoom make, from one product to another, there's slight differences in every gadget. And it depends on the price you pay, obviously. And the top of the range units are usually amazing. They've got everything, haven't they? You know, the more expensive pedal boards, they've got everything in it. Some of them have got valves in as well, which is useful. But anyway, I noticed with this, the G2NU pedal, right, it's brilliant. It's actually a great pedal, and it's got everything you could possibly need, right? But in hindsight, when I've used other Zoom pedals, stop it! Oh, I can't believe this guitar. I've wired it up and everything, it's still making noises out the blue, like. But anyway, so enter this pedal. I don't know if anyone will have heard of these, but I'm telling you, if you can get one, snap one up, guys, honestly. And this is it. It looks crap. It just looks like this. Do you see there's the Zoom plastic box design, like the 505 or whatever it was called, the multi-effects unit. But this was like, they had like a limited run of these pedals, and this is the Zoom 510 power driver, right, which is just basically a distortion, a dedicated distortion pedal. And it's got an octaver in it. It's got compression and wah. So it's basically a preamp with you know, you can put an octave on it or whatever, like, and but it hasn't got echo and reverb and flange and those things, and it's just basically a dedicated preamp. And I'll zoom into it in a minute, like, so you can have a little detailed look at it, like. But what it basically does is it's like, you know, a lot of people like using two preamps. A lot of people like using an like a valve amplifier or a decent amplifier with the preamp built in, and they'll have like a distortion or a fuzz box or a tube screamer to give them that little bit of boost. Make it a little bit more heavy, and especially the metal heads, they usually have like 2 or 3 distortion effects all linked up, don't they? Right? And that's what this pedal does. The Zoom 510, what's it called? Yeah. Say dual power driver. Right. So if you look them up on eBay, you'll see people selling them for about 30 quid or something. They're quite, even less, because it's the crappy plastic lightweight design of their cheapest pedal. But it is like when they released them, then they did a delay, a reverb, a modulation, and the distortion. They were all separate pedals, but they were all really good quality circuitry, right? Now, as an amplifier, as a preamp, right, when I plug this into my busking amplifier, because I'm relying on the pedal to be my amplifier, basically, the bass, middle, treble, the drive, all those little things that matter for your distortion sound, right? So the busking amp is just basically a PA, really, and everything's in the pedal. Now I've noticed when I use this, it's old, you see, like when I use this and I've got like distortion sounds programmed into it what I put in myself. It sounds better, it feels better, it feels like a proper amplifier. It's got like a bit of, when you pick the notes on a guitar, it's got like a little, like a bassy boom to it, like when you plug into a proper amplifier, you get this boom kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a little bit of bottom end with every pick, basically, and this captures it perfectly. I'll try and show it later, like. So what I'll do is I've got like one of my distortion sounds on me Zoom G2NU programmed, set at the moment with no echo on, I'm keeping it dry. There's no echo on this. This is the only downer with this. I've got to buy a separate delay pedal, like an analog effects pedal, just a lightweight job, just a cheap, just for echo, because I always have a little bit of delay. Sometimes I use a bit of flange on, like a very light flange effect to give it like a mad tone effect, like a boxy sound, but that's not really necessary, as long as the distortion's clean and crisp and heavy, like it's not too messy. That's what I look for, and I'll explain in a minute like what I'm talking about with my actual sound. But yeah, this has got two stages of like preamp. It's got like a pre and post, like two levels of distortion. So you kind of set in two. One's like a milder distortion, kind of based on the valve effect when you crank up a valve amp, and then obviously there's another distortion that goes into like metal mode, and you pair them together, and there's like series parallel. There's this crazy little settings, like, well, not many people know about these pedals, man. You know what I mean? Because they're so crap, really. They're not really the plastic. You know what I mean? Cheap, but they put a lot of effort into the idea of making a classy preamp when they made these. So yeah, check out on eBay if you can get one of these second hand. And I'm telling you guys, it's probably the best distortion pedal. Well, digital. It's not an analog pedal. Probably the best sounding digital pedal I've heard for the price. It's incredible. I'll show you it after, but it sounds very natural, like a real amplifier, But so I've got one of my sounds on there on the other Zoom, right? Now I've got to use this one when I want a bit of echo. I don't know if you can hear this, but I'll just kind of I don't want it too loud, you see, in case the neighbours complain. But this is like, if you can. Now what I usually do, guys, is I overdrive. I always put the distortion as high as possible, because I want the lead sound to be fully distorted, right? And then when you play a chord, it's as heavy as, like heavy metal, really. I always use like heavy metal settings. But my music itself is more like a kind of like a Bryan Adams or whatever, like rocky, light rock kind of thing. Some punky stuff, isn't there, right? So that's my first tip. I always have the sound as heavy as possible. But basically so that when you're playing leads, it sings, Now the guitar, before I go any further, I'll just do a little description of the guitar, right? It's a cheap Yamaha guitar I got out of a catalogue, right? It was about, like them beginners kits, and you get like a little practice amp with the guitar. That's what this was, right? So it had cheap pickups on it. I mean, like the cheapest, crappiest humbuckers you can ever see, and a crap single coil in the middle. And the bridge was even, it was like those horrible. I've replaced the bridge. It's a cheap one, you know what I mean, but it's better than the one that was on it, right? The pickups. Let me tell you about these pickups, guys. I'll get a close up of them so you can. Before I go any further about my sounds, just in case people want to know, what I'm using. Let's remove the camera. Right. These pickups, right? ESP. A little bit of rust on them now. Do you see the way the paint's come off and the silver's showing through, and they were all black completely. There's a bit of rust on that there, you see. But these are ESP pickups, right? This is off an old Squier Strat I had. So it's like a Fender pickup or a Squier, Squier single coil. And the cover's irrelevant. It's just like a custom cover, It was in a white cover or whatever, But I put that on because I like to have access to a single coil sound. Like say Red Hot Chili Peppers sound, or a bit of funk, or a bit of Hendrix. That like retro distortion, retro fuzz. So I put a single coil in the middle, and that covers everything really. You can usually do what you want with the middle position, it's in between the, it's in between bridge and neck, isn't it? So you got the right tone. So I probably could use that middle pickup to do anything to do with the 60s or the 70s retro sounds, right? But that's where the pickup's from. I took it off an old Squier I had ages ago, what I customised. I thought, yeah, I'll put a single in there to use if I need that sound. right? But the two humbuckers, right, this is where I got them from. I went on eBay, right, and I was just looking for a pair of humbucking pickups, and I didn't want to like spend like money on Seymour Duncans or what's the other one, DiMarzio's. I've tried the DiMarzio Path Pro, it was alright, you know, the PAF Pro. I used to use one of those and it was okay, like, but they're not as, the output isn't as high as I'd like it to be, you know, it's not, I like it to be really heavy, you see. Not because I'm playing heavy metal, it's nothing to do with that, it's just like I say, when you're playing lead, the heavier it is, the more it sings, you know what I'm saying? If you distort, the more you distort and saturate it, saturate it, like. They named it after Satch, didn't they? Saturation, like. He's got the best tone in the world, Joe Satriani, in my opinion, like. But anyway, these pickups, I decided to replace the ones that were on it. They were crap, right? I went onto eBay. I remember this is a cheap Yamaha. This isn't an expensive guitar, guys, and you know how it sounds. It sounds good, like. But it's a nice piece of wood, but obviously you'd have to replace a lot to make it a bit classy, if you get me. So I thought, okay, I need some pickups, and I'll try some, like, you know, cheap ones online. So I went on eBay, right, and some guy was selling these, right, pair of them, ESP. They were off a heavy metal kind of guitar, you know. But you know the company ESP, they make like, you know, like the way Fender make guitars in Mexico and China, so they're cheaper. Well, ESP, the company, a Japanese guitar company, they make amazing guitars, don't they, right? But the Japanese guitars are expensive. They're just like the Fenders and the Gibsons. They're nice instruments, right? The guy who bought these off on eBay, in the description, he stated that he bought an ESP guitar, you know, the ones that are made in China, you know, they're not actually made in Japan, they're made cheaper elsewhere. You know, it's their version of the budget effects, budget guitars. And so what he did was, when he bought the thing, when he bought his ESP guitar, right, which wasn't one of the proper Japanese ones, he naturally thought the pickups might not be that good. And he took them out and he's replaced it with DiMarzio's or Seymour Duncans. You know, he's bought top of the range pickups to make his ESP guitar a bit more quality, like, yeah. So in the description for these pickups, they were only 20 odd quid or something, 25 quid or 30 quid, I'm not sure, they weren't expensive, right? But because he'd said mint condition, never been used, and he'd just taken them out of the guitar he bought and replaced them, you know like people do, they take the stock pickups out and they put the replacements in, and they don't want the ones they've took out, they want to sell them, right? So this guy sold these pickups on eBay really cheap, because he must have thought they were crap or something, you know. And I'm not kidding you guys, they're the best pickups I've ever heard. Well, the best, like, sort of Les Paul, Gibson sounding pickups I've ever heard, other than a real, like a vintage, like, you know, it's like a vintage Les Paul sound. The back pickup is creamy and sharp, and the front pickup is all round. I'll play a little demo of how they sound separately. Right, still using me Zoom GN. Oh, it's just probably bored in this video, but I suppose the guitarists will watch it, like, I don't know. Anyway, I'll show you what I mean, the sound of the two pickups, so you can get an idea on the tone and that, like. Just get me okay. The back pickup, right? Listen to how creamy, it's got like it almost sounds like a front pickup, it's weird. I mean, you know, because I had that Hofner Shorty recently, I've been playing the Hofner Shorty. I left this in the case for a while, I got used to the Hofner. And obviously, I've proved that it can sound good. The Hofner, you can see on earlier videos, I've got a really nice sound out of the Hofner with the stock pickup on it, like. But after playing that pickup and then I go back to this guitar, this is like creamy pumpkins. It's just easy peasy lemon squeezy, I call it, the effect. Like, you know, it's just like a lovely tone, like. Obviously they've aged a bit as well since I bought them, but they were brand new. The guy hadn't even used them, he took them straight out of the guitar. They still had the paint on the pole pieces, you know, the heavy metal black paint work and that. But this is the back pickup. Right, now the front pickup. I mean, is that just pure Les Paul or what, like? I mean, just, the guy mustn't have even realised how good they were. He should have kept, you know what I mean? You've got to, he probably took them out before he even had the chance to try them, you know. But honestly, they're just awesome, and you can't buy them, you see. No, you know, I've seen one on eBay, one of these pickups, and you can tell by the stamp on the back. GB or something is stamped on the brass plate on the back of them. The quality, like. But isn't that sound? Back pickup. See where it cuts through a bit. Front pickup. Right in the middle, me cheapy single coil. You can immediately hear how thin that is. Right, so that's the 3 pickups separately demonstrated for you, and I've explained where I've got them, so in case anyone's wondering what the pickups are. I wouldn't even know how to describe them. All I know is ESP pickups must be fantastic, especially the top of the range ones, because these are incredible. You know, the Japanese, mate, if they make a copy of something, it's usually, but that is pure, like Gibson PAF, that from the 70s or something. Rosie, the front pickup. The back pickup's me dog. And the front pickup's me bitch. The singing bitch. Missy the singing dog. You know me dogs I keep talking about. That's why the guitar's black and white, by the way, guys. The little flashes on it, they're not meant to be lightning bolts or anything like that. They're meant to symbolise electricity. You know, because I do play Spanish guitar a lot, like, you know, nylon strings. So symbolically, I have my electric guitar, where you've got to use distortion. You know, you don't. I've got to use distortion. I hardly ever play clean. There's my clean sound, by the way. This is my acoustic clean sound. Does that sound like an acoustic or what? That's the front pickup, by the way. Look at that. I got the time, I got forever, I got forever and a day. See, that's me acoustic-y busking. When I'm going to do some acoustic numbers, I don't actually need an acoustic. I've made it so I only need to take electric with me. So, right, back to the heavy sound. See, the same chords. I'm trying to lighten the load, guys, you know, so I don't need a lot of guitars or 2 guitars or whatever. Right. So that's the explanation about the pickups. Now the pedal. I'll do a changeover to the other zoom pedal to show you the sound, you know, give you an idea. But when I pick, there's no bottom end. There's no, like, I don't know what to call it. Like, I don't know what the description is. You know, it's like It sounds plastic. All digital effects have got a plasticky sound, haven't they, guys? You know, it's got to be analog or a real amplifier, a real valve amp cranked up if you want the real tones and that, like. But for digital, like snapshots, aren't they, digital pedals? They take a snapshot of a real guitar sound and it's like a photograph, really. It's almost like a sample. So it's good enough, right? It's good enough, that sound. But we're going to switch over now to... Hang on, I'll just show you with the echo on. I always have the exact same sound with a bit of echo on. Front pickup. Right. Back pickup, echo off. Right, now listen to that, like, the picking. That ESP pickup is so creamy. Right, now to get the sound, the immediate sound change, I'll switch the pedals round, right folks? Unplug my power supply. I've only got one power supply for both pedals. Right, so now the volume might shoot up here, like, I hope not too loud, but okay. Whoop. Right. Now, because I can't play it and volume up. Right, that's on a clean sound. Let's go straight to a distortion sound that I've already selected, that I've already programmed in. This is a Brucey distortion tone. Ooh, it's louder. Before. Whoa. Whoa. Right, now, that's a reasonable volume. Now listen to the bass in each pick. Can you hear that like a combo amp or you know the cabinet? Now this hasn't got any reverb on it or echo, so I can't really demonstrate that, like so. But listen to the chord sound. Heavy. You know, it's like a metal setting. Really meaty. But the sound, the lead sound, I don't know if you can actually hear that on the camera, the difference between the two pedals, the way it's got a bit more bass. Front pickup. What any other sounds I put in? Here's the octaver. But back to me, my sound. Does that sound natural, or what, folks? Like sort of meaty? I call it easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's more dynamic. It's just something's lacking in the newer pedals. You get me, that bass tone. Single coil pickup. Front pickup. Sustain. I've noticed this sustains better when I try doing long notes with the modern pedal. The noise gate or whatever, it just cuts out too quick. It can die out just suddenly. This thing's great. It's nearest thing to a natural sounding preamp I've heard. Back pickup. Right, so you can hear the sound. If anyone see, I don't know, I'd like to hear your comments. Can you actually hear the difference in that? The tone and the difference, the bass, the bollocks in it, like the dog's bollocks. So I'll do a zoom into the pedal for you, and you can have a little look at it. Obviously I can't play at the same time. But it's dead crap, you know, the layout and everything. It's one of those old school, look, when you go from one sound, that's E3 by the way, but you say E2, E1, right, so that's me sound there I've just showed you. And if I zoom into there, it tells you the effects that are on it, like the pre-drive. Oh, shut up. The pre-drive, right? And the main drive. So this is what you got in the pre-section. You put these together and it gives you the tones. But you got your booster. Right, there the effects are in it. Booster, rhythm, light overdrive, dynamic overdrive, compression, auto wah, pedal wah and octaver, right? That's in the pre-section. Then in the post you add to that overdrive, blues overdrive, fat drive, distortion, fuzz, grunge, lead and metal. So you can only see what I'm saying. You're combining like these distortions with, say, you've got your rhythm or your light overdrive, and it's interesting. It is like an amplifier and an effects pedal together, basically. Put them both together and you can, you know, get your tones to a certain... You see how crap it is? You know, it's one of those... So basically, what was I going to say about the... Oh, that's another thing I don't do. You know the way a lot of guitarists tend to have a sort of a sound, like a distorted sound, and when they come to a lead solo, they use a booster so it stands out, or a tube screamer or whatever. I just like to leave the sound. I like to have the whatever my distortion sound is, my lead sound and my rhythm sound are just the same sound. I like to just go into lead without pushing any buttons. And it still stands out, it still kind of like resonates from the back, you know, from the track. That's why a lot of my tracks, it might sound a bit like, you know, you think, wow, you could turn it up a bit there in the lead, but I rely on the volume. When you're playing live, you know, you got to get an energy from the speaker, don't you, when it's loud. So it's a bit more, it's different when it's loud. When you're playing in a room and quietly, you can't really go mad on that kind of stuff. But yeah, you've got your boost on that as well, like. But that's the crazy thing. You can have them in series or parallel. You know, you can, you know, the actual two segments, the pre-drive and the post-drive, series and parallel. And that's interesting, different textures. So you've got like the pre-drive first or the post-drive first in order of the way it's being picked up, series or parallel. And it's really interesting. It's a great little pedal. I mean, you just hear the sound it makes, you know, the actual distortion sound. I'll do a little bit more anyway. I don't think many people are onto it, guys, right? But I think it could be the greatest digital distortion. Is it? Let's turn it around a bit, so you get a bit more. And I'm using on that. I can't remember the settings, but it is the lead. You know, in that second set of distortions, the way it's got like blues and grunge and whatever. And the setting on this is lead. You know, so it's specifically designed for lead, but it's great for rhythm as well. You know what I mean? So when I'm playing my rhythm guitar, like. There's the rhythm. I'm using the same sound for lead as well. I'll go into a lead solo. Yeah. I just like it set with one sound. I'm a bit like, you know, setting my ways on that. Like, I'd rather have a valve amp cranked up fully, right, and not use any distortions. I'd rather just use a valve amp, a Marshall or something, turned right up, and maybe an echo pedal or a flanger pedal, maybe a chorus pedal for acousticy stuff. But anyway, I thought I'd put people onto this, because you can't find these. I mean, I did see one. I checked on eBay the other day to see if anyone was selling one, right? I got mine on eBay for like 25 quid, guys, second hand. They're usually not in the box, and you usually got no power supply. But they're an amazing little distortion, they really are. Fuzz box, I mean, I don't know if I've got any fuzz sounds set in it, like, here, is it? Oh no, that's the you know, for fuzz box effects and for retro sounds, it's unbelievable, trust me guys. It's got like the tones, because you can mix the two tones together. It's crazy. It's just like so, and hardly anyone's ever made. I don't think there's any other videos on YouTube about this pedal. But I'd highly I mean, the modern thing, this thing, the features on it and the way it's laid out, and it's tough and it's heavy, and you know, it's kind of heavy duty, you know what I mean? But these things are going like, these are becoming rocking horse shit as well. They're so rare. You check out, try and buy one of these second hand, guys. There'll be like 2 people part, because they're so good for the money, you know what I mean? They've got like, they're really like, and you can actually download like Steve Vai's sound or Satriani's sound online, can't you? You know, you can get like the presets and put them in. There's a USB on this. There's no USB on that, on the other one, you know. It's just like an old Zoom pedal, like, basically. But the features on this make it like, this was like £100 when I bought it. And it's mind-blowing. It's got everything I need, but it just lacks in that little, you know, just having that, like, sounding like a real amplifier, you know, rather than a digital distortion pedal, like. I mean, I'll go back to my E3 sound. See what I'm saying, that bass note? And remember, this isn't a guitar amplifier, this is more like a PA system. This is more like a PA system. My phone's going off now. I did have to go off now. Oh no, I don't believe it. Anyway, so I'll get off anyway. I think I've said enough. I don't know how long this is. It's getting long, isn't it? But there you go, folks. That's my advice to any of you. If you're a distortion fiend, if you are, you know, like into retro pedals and effects pedals, I mean, the Zoom thingy, you know, the equivalent, what is it, the 505, the one with the multi-effects, the distortions on that are brilliant. But if you just want a dedicated distortion pedal with a bit of variety, this is your distortion, you know. If you can snap one up, get one, guys. I mean, you get it for like 20 quid, $20 or whatever. So that's it, the 510 dual power driver. Little tip. That's the one I'm going to be taking out when I go busking, but I need to have a separate echo pedal, you know what I mean? I might make my own analog delay pedal, you know, where you buy the kits and you can make them yourself for like 18 quid for a delay pedal, which is brilliant. You've got to make it yourself, obviously, but that's all I need is a little echo pedal, battery operated. And it's light, it's plastic, you see, that Zoom is so light, it's unbelievable. It'll be great in the backpack. But that's the one anyway. So little bit of advice, any of you out there, if you find one, snap them up, because they are rare and no one talks about them. Brilliant little pedal, great distortion and fuzz box effects as well. Oh, and there's a wah built into it, remember, it's got auto wah where you don't need a pedal. You can plug a pedal into it as well using the wah, so you've got a controller to do wah. Octaver, distortion, compression, all your preamps basically, all your preamp settings. So yeah, you heard it here first. I don't think anyone else has mentioned it on YouTube. Grab them while they're out there, you know what I mean, if you can get anyone to part with them. So thanks for watching, folks. And I'll be back.